الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله ذي الملك والملكوت ذي العزة والجبروت الحمد لله ذي الفضل والكرم ذي القدرة والنعم الحمد لله حي قيوم لا ينام عزيز لا يضام قهار لا يرام وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أما بعد يقول الباري سبحانه وتعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared and dare not except on the state of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, grant us this great favor to die on the state of Islam. Allahumma ameen ya arhamar rahimin. Amma ba'd. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإن منكم إلا واردها كان على ربك حتما مقضيا. وإن منكم, every one of you, واردها is going to see or cross or enter hellfire. It was a matter that being ordained from Allah is a decree. One lady from Al-Basra, a worshipper, a long time ago, being asked every time she faced a difficulty or a calamity. She was always having a glowing face with a great and beautiful patience. When being asked about the wisdom behind her piety and strength of Iman, to face all this difficulty with his great bravery and courage and patience, she said something amazing. She said, every time something befalls on me, I will remember the hellfire. And when I compare it to the hellfire, it becomes so tiny in my eyes. That what make me and help me to be steadfast on the way of Allah and the journey of this life, the journey of test. This is a way of a believer to think of a great thing that is going to happen with no doubt. And the first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to the believer with is to believe in the unseen. And if the belief of the unseen in our life, it's not involved or taken in consideration in the planning of our life, so we are fully misleading ourselves. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, describing this greatest day, and he talking about al-jisr, as-sirat, that everyone is going to cross. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the ayah that I mentioned in the beginning, and is the ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Maryam. And he's saying that this is in describing قال أدق من الشعر. He's like thin as the hair, and he's like a blade. فيقول فناج مسلم أو مخدوش مرسل أو مقدوس في النار. Three categories of people. People that are going to be fully saved, and other, they're going to be, their skin, they're going to be ripped and being thrown later on to maybe cross it. And other, they're going to be, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, taken by those hooks coming from the hellfire to be inside the hellfire. And the situation, ikhwani, that someone, every believer, it's a part of his life because all of us will go to see it. And a beautiful reminder in the book of Tadhkirah of Imam al-Qurtubi saying, imagine yourself standing, you're going to cross the Jisr. If you're standing, someone when he's full of worries and anxiety, he cannot even walk, he wants always to sit, but you are required to cross. And then seeing this tremendous thing and seeing under beneath you, and you are so tiny because it's so huge, the hellfire. Seeing beneath you a very dark, because the fire is dark flame. تسمع لها شهيق وهي تفور. And he's like almost going to burst from rage. And it has like this terrifying moaning. And you are by yourself, alone. You are at that moment, you only have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you don't know what you're going to do. You have to go. Because the Jannah, the Rahmah that you want is beyond this sirat. And when you're seeing the angels and everything that is going, and the hooks and this claws, iron claws coming and pliers, taking everyone, taking him down, and other they're crossing, and you are in that situation, what you going to do? And in this mere situation, you're going to remember your life. Because your crossing on the path is a real mirror, is a reflection of the life that you live today. Exactly the same. The way you lived here, that's the way you're going to cross. The rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may be at footsteps. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال فمر كالبرق وآخر كالطير وآخر كالجواد أو الجواد. It's like someone is going to be flying or like passing like the speed of light. And the other one is like flying, and the other one is like running or like riding, the best of the horses. But other they're going to be crawling. The way how you're going to cross, it is a reflection exactly of what you live today. Some of them, they're going to bite on their hand. يَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَىٰ يَدَيْهِ وَيَقُولُ يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا يا ويلتى ليتني لم أتخذ فلانا خليلا لقد أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني وكان الشيطان للإنسان خذولا. He bites on his hand. He doesn't bite on one finger or two. He bites on all his hand. In that moment that you're going to cross. Because there's these few steps, but it's very long and hard situation in the life of our existence. That's why, ikhwani, when you imagine yourself, then you taste the Quran, then you taste the meaning of those who their side forsaken the beds. They cannot even sleep. Why? Because they already imagine themselves in their situation, how they going to cross, how they going to path this path. It is in their mind, in their heart. Or you will be from those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about them, يَوْمَ لَا يُخْزِي اللَّهُ النَّبِيَّ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those you will be with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. نُورُهُمْ يَسْعَى بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَبِأَيْمَانِهِمْ. You'll have your light. Because it's dark, you have the light of the Iman. They have the light of the marks of wudu. That is going to be your light. And everyone, you will be in a group, in Zumar, in Jama'ah, saying, رَبَّنَا أَتْمِمْ لَنَا نُورَنَا وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Oh Allah, fulfill our light. Oh Allah, make this light to be the light that is taking us to hell, to the paradise. Oh Allah, forgive us, you have the all power today, Ya Allah. And you're still standing on that position. How are you going to cross? Three characteristics in our life. Because when you are in that position, you are fearing to fall into the darkness of hellfire. And you are hoping to fly to the rahmah of Allah. And your wish to cross the fastest possible. Three things: fear, hope, and how fast you cross. The fear is equal to the fear that you have today of Allah. The hope is your raja that you have today in the rahmah of Allah. That's how it's going to be translated. Your fear to Allah, your hope to Allah is going to be translated at that position when you are standing in front of the sirat. And how fast you're going to be, this depends on your taqwa in your dunya. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال in the ayah, ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. Then we'll save those pious, those who used to shield themselves from the wrath of Allah. Then the speed that you gain is based on the taqwa here. And the fear mixed with the hope that give the balance to give you the gain of the speed and how you go to cross it. And if someone doesn't have those in the dunya, he's going to fall in hellfire. And the fear that we're talking about, Ahlul Ilmi yaquluna, check the fear of Allah in 7 things. Check the fear of Allah in your tongue, the way you speak, what you are using your tongue for, lying, backbiting, gossiping, or remembrance of Allah. Second, check the fear of Allah in your heart. Do you have that envy and disease in your heart, and everyone you see you show for him, or you feel towards him hatred and envy, not for the thing because someone he only wants the thing for his hand, for himself, or he has the love for Allah, for his messenger, for his brother, for the deen of Allah, for the striving in the sake of Allah. Check the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your gaze. Are you those who seeking reward by looking at the Quran? Are you from those who seeking to always to lower their gaze, to move it away from anything that causes the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Check the fear of Allah in your hand. What you're using your hand with to get the halal, or just to cheat and doing the ways to get the thing that it will cause the wrath of Allah. Check the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your own legs. Are you using them to take you and to use them to walk toward the haram, or use them to walk toward the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Check the fear of Allah. And then the last one, check the fear of Allah in your state of obedience. Are you doing it for the sake of Allah, or are you doing it just to get rid of a burden, or are you doing it just to show off? Check the fear of Allah in ourselves. يقول يحيى بن معاذ رحمه الله تعالى: والله مسكين ابن آدم، مسكين ابن آدم, poor the son of Adam, لو خاف النار كما يخاف الفقر لدخل الجنة. If he fears hellfire as he fears poverty, he will enter paradise with no problem. Wallahi, with no problem. If he fears hellfire as he fears poverty, he will enter paradise. Al-Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah said, قال يركبون البحر والبر من أجل الرزق. They will get, cross lands and cross seas just for a sustenance. But when it comes to the hellfire, when it comes to cross the sirat, which is your life, someone will say, oh Allah, may Allah forgive us. May Allah forgive us for the hellfire that is threatening you and is threatening all your eternity. But when it comes to rizq or sustenance, some provision, someone is ready to cross the whole earth to make a business or to get a profit. The Prophet ﷺ, after it being revealed to him in Surah Al-Muzammil, when he being asked to stand the whole night to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يقول رب العزة إن لدينا أنكالا وجحيما وطعاما ذا غصة وعذابا أليما. We have chains for them, and we have torture, wal'iyadu billah, grievous penalty, and a food that make them choke. The Prophet ﷺ faint at this ayah. كما ذكر عند البيهقي, faint. When Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, riding by night his donkey and going back from the masjid, after a long hours in the masjid, going just to get to his house. And at that moment, the barakah of the Quran was everywhere, in every house. When you pass in the Medina in the night, you hear the sound, like sound of bees. The sound of the recitation of the Quran. People that are in their prayer, and people that are crossing legs, reflecting on the book of Allah. And he was crossing and passing by a house, and someone, he was reading Surah Al-Tur. والبيت المعمور والسقف المرفوع والبحر المسجور إن عذاب ربك لواقع. The punishment of Allah is going to occur. ما له من دافع, no one can push it, no one can stop it, no one. At the moment he said واقع is going to fall, is going to happen, Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu fell from his donkey. Fell. A whole week, people, they visit Umar because he's sick. They don't know what is the origin of his sickness. It was this ayah. Why? Because they felt the Quran and they imagine, if we do imagine it the way that it should be, if you really, like Yahya ibn Mu'adh saying, you fear
really you feel the poverty, and if you feel hellfire as you feel poverty, you understand, you taste the Quran. You taste it in the mean, it's not like you need eloquent in the speech or depth into the knowledge, but if you just put what you read, you imagine it. If you put what you read, you imagine it. وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ سُعِّرَتْ, when the hellfire is kindled. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. You know what it means? وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ سُعِّرَتْ. وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ سُعِّرَتْ. If someone will think about it, just think. This is hellfire, this is not any fire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Rahman, Surah Al-Rahman, the most merciful. It's amazing. قَالَ سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. We're going to apply ourselves to you. And one of the scholars said, سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ. We're going to, we devote ourselves to you. Both classes, jinn and ins. One of the scholars said, when Allah was busy to come be devoted for us, but in a way that is going to come a day that you will not have control of anything. Today you have the choice to do whatever you want. But it's going to come a day you're going to be fully controlled. You cannot do anything. And the way that you're going to cross that path is going to be the way you live this today. That's why, subhanAllah, we are reminding ourselves today, you have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to bring three things. توبة وإني لغفار لمن تاب وآمن وعمل صالحا ثم اهتدى. I give forgiveness for those who make repentance and do good deeds and they continue in their iman. Tawbah. The second thing, be truthful with Allah. If you are weak, we are weak. But don't play. Be truthful with Allah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you. يَوْمَ يَنْفَعُ الصَّادِقِينَ صِدْقُهُمْ. Sidq. The third one, don't feel secured from the plan of Allah. فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَأْمَنُ مِنْ مَكْرِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Don't feel like we are Muslim, alhamdulillah, we are in paradise. We are not in paradise. For a simple answer, the day of judgment, it didn't happen yet. How can someone will make a judgment that inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather all of us in paradise? That's the hope that we need to have. But someone cannot have it. Cannot think that he secured that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jibreel alayhi salam, he didn't secure it. Every time he used to visit the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was in a state of fear. When he saw Mikael not even smiling, قال له النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لجبريل, he said to Jibreel, why he doesn't have any smile, Mikael? قال, he stopped smiling since the creation of hellfire. But if you fear Allah, if you always beg in Allah, because if you fear Allah, you run to Allah. And know something, the fear of Allah is not a threat. The fear of Allah is not because something there is scaring you, you don't want to go to it. No, the fear of Allah is a worship, is an order from Allah. قال فإياي فارهبون قال ولا تخافوهم فخافوني ولا تخافوهم. It's like, fear me, because when you fear Allah, you run to Allah. When you fear anything else, you run from it. But the fear of Allah, you go to Allah because you go to hope Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to enter you and make you the candidate to His rahmah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ikhwani, this is a reminder for all of us to taste the Quran in the way that it needs to be read. To think of those great examples that we think that something, they are in the Quran, but we think like it's not possible for us to do it. No, wallahi, if you think the way to imagine yourself what you're going to be facing, then all your system of life will change. All your system of your life will change. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the piety. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us al-ikhlas. And when I continue, Jibreel alayhi salam, the fear he has, if you do so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send you the glad tidings in your heart. Because the Quran is the mercy to the whole world, including the angels. Jibreel, the fear he has, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him glad tidings in the Quran when he revealed the end of Surah Al-Takwir to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He find out how Jibreel is appreciated by Allah. إنه لقول رسول كريم ذي قوة عند ذي العرش مكين. He's the one with power. Allah talking about Jibreel. And the one who has a high ranks with Allah. مطاع obeyed ثم أمين, and he is trustworthy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to throw fear of him in our heart and hope and make us from the pious. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى أما بعد. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to have the presence of the heart, to live with the book of Allah, to live with the deen of Allah, to live with reality. Because the people who do not think of the hereafter, they live a dream, they live a delusion. It's really the way of the shaitan. And someone, if you think, subhanallah, if you are in that situation, you want to cross, you want to be in the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't want to be in hellfire, you don't want to be. This is not an option for a true believer. But how to gain your speed? How to make the speed so fast? Ikhwani is very easy. I'll give you an example. When you come to the masjid, there's people that come early to the masjid. They sit and they read and they make dhikr. Other they come at the time of the prayer. Other they come at takbirat al-ihram of al-imam. Other they join at the middle of the prayer. Other in the end of the prayer. Other they come and people that already finished the prayer. If you take this group and you bring them in front of a sirat, they're not going to have the same speed. The one who comes first, if he has sincerity, he going to have the higher speed. Therefore, ikhwani, the way we live, if you think that every action you're going to do to Allah that is going to be a factor in the speed, how you cross the sirat, is going to be totally different. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, compete and race. Sari'u wa sabiqu, for the maghfirah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if someone, wal-iyadu billah, to see the hope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, someone was in hellfire, he has a belief. He said, La ilaha illallah, but he fully transgressed himself, and he was in hellfire, calling for 1,000 years, Ya Hannan, Ya Mannan, Ya Hannan, Ya Mannan, for 1,000 years, in hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the angel, get him out and ask him why he's coming. He said, Ya Allah, he's talking to the angels. Qala, Ya Allah, if you enter me hellfire, is by your justice. But I'm still longing in your rahmah to get me out of it. And now that you get me out, Ya Allah, don't get me back. He told him, you get to paradise. Khwani, Allah is the most merciful. We don't need to be, wal-iyadu billah, in hellfire to call Ya Hannani wa Ya Mannan. We are here when we say, Ya Hannan Ya Mannan. Allahumma aghfir lana dhunubana ajma'in. Ya Hannan Ya Mannan. Ijma'na fi rahmatika ajma'in. Ya Hannan Ya Mannan. ربنا توفنا مسلمين. اللهم اغفر لنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة يرحمكم الله.